The Three Woes, 8:13. Revelation 8:13. And I saw and heard a solitary eagle flying in mid-heaven, saying in a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth on account of the remaining proclamations of each trumpet which the three remaining angels are about to sound. The solemn warning given here, along with the dire consequences it presages, serves to distinguish and separate emphatically the next three judgments from the four which preceded them. As both a bird of prey and a carrion eater, the eagle is a natural symbol both for impending attack and for the deadly consequences of defeat. Therefore the eagle who calls out in a loud voice from the sky above is first a general portent of divine wrath and judgment, as can be clearly seen from the following passage in Hosea. Put the trumpet to your lips to blow it, that is, as a sign of warning. For it is as if an eagle is hovering over the house of the Lord, that is, as a sign of impending judgment. For they have transgressed against my covenant, and they have sinned against my teaching, literally Torah. Israel cries out to me, O my God, we know you. But Israel has forsaken the good, and an enemy will pursue him. Hosea 8:1 and 2. Secondly, as we have seen in our study of the eagle-faced cherub, Revelation 4:7, the eagle is also a specific symbol of the Messiah soon to come, who likewise appears in mid-heaven, visible to every eye, when he returns to execute judgment upon all his enemies and claim his kingdom at the second advent. Revelation 1:7. With its connotations of forbidding majesty and awe, Hosea 8:1 and Habakkuk 1:8, the eagle is an appropriate symbol for Christ's majestic and awe-inspiring double victory, first at the cross, with its accompanying resurrection, ascension and session at the Father's right hand, and ultimately at the second advent which is in view here, Luke 17:37. The announcement of multiple tidings of disaster through the repetition of the word woe is not unprecedented in Scripture, as we saw in our treatment of Jesus' 7 woes in Matthew 23:13-39. What all the passages cited have in common, including the very numerous use of single woes throughout the Bible, is that the word woe looks forward to the divine consequences of abandoning God in the case of believers, or of opposing God in the case of unbelievers. That is to say, the inspired use of woe in Scripture is generally reserved for proclamations of impending judgment upon the objects of God's wrath, and that is always so in the case of repeated woes. Therefore, the first thing that believers who are contemplating these terrible judgments to come need to keep in mind is that their dire consequences are meant for unbelievers and apostates, not for those who are keeping faith with and staying faithful to Jesus. Even though the effects of these last 3 trumpet judgments will be even more catastrophic in nature than the 4 which have come before, not a hair on the head of a single believer in Jesus Christ will fall to the ground without the express counsel and foreknowledge of our God. Luke 21:18. Specifically, the 5th and 6th trumpet judgments are administered by demons and will affect only unbelievers. Even during the 7th trumpet judgment, synonymous with the Great Tribulation as we have seen, believers will continue to have complete protection from God's judgments upon the world, most perspicuously in the 7 bowl judgments, including Christ's victorious return. Jerusalem staggers. Judah is falling. Their words and their deeds are against the Lord, defying his glorious presence. The look on their faces testifies against them. They parade their sin like Sodom. They do not hide it. Woe to them! They have brought disaster upon themselves. Tell the righteous that it will be well with them, for they will enjoy the fruit of their deeds. Woe to the wicked! Disaster is upon them. They will be paid back for what their hands have done. Isaiah 3:8-11. This is not to say, as we have already stressed, that for this reason believers will have an easy time of things during the tribulation. Far from it. The severe dislocation of human life and society, from almost every point of view which will obtain during the tribulation and increase in severity with every passing day, cannot help but place tremendous pressures upon God's elect. This is in fact the point behind the name the Tribulation, as we have seen in the first part of this series. Moreover, during the Great Tribulation there will be a worldwide persecution of the true Church of Jesus Christ, such as has never occurred in the history of the world, and never shall again thereafter. But even though it be our lot to suffer alienation, contempt, persecution, imprisonment, and even martyrdom, as many who are alive at that time most definitely shall, we must train ourselves ahead of time to take comfort in the fact that none of these things will come against us from God. Rather, they will be for God as He uses us for His glory, demonstrating for all the world of men and angels to see the faith and faithfulness of those who are called by His name, all those who have dedicated their lives to the Lamb whatever the cost, even should that entail the loss of their lives to witness on His behalf. But in contrast to those who receive the mark of the beast and worship him, the saints have perseverance, even those who in this way, that is, by refusing to receive the mark or worship the beast, keep God's commandments and retain their faith in Jesus, even though it may cost them their lives. Revelation 14:12. The first woe demon harassment, 9:1 through 12. Revelation 9:1 through 12. And the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star, that is, an angel, which had descended from heaven to the earth. And the key to the shaft which leads down to the abyss was given to him. And he opened the shaft of the abyss, and smoke came up from the shaft like smoke from a great oven. And the sun and the atmosphere were darkened by the smoke, which came forth from the shaft. And locusts came out of the smoke and descended onto the earth. And the power to harm people was given to them, just like earthly scorpions have the power to harm people. And it was told to them not to harm the earth's grass or any green plant, literally thing, or any tree, but only the people without the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were given the power, not to kill these people, but to bring it about that they might be tormented by this plague over a 5-month period. And the torment these locusts inflict is like the torment inflicted by a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days people will seek death but will not find it, and will wish to die but death will flee from them. And the appearance of the locusts was similar to miniature horses made ready for battle, that is, in full battle gear. And on their heads were something like crowns similar to gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. And they had hair like women's hair, that is, long, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. And they had breastplates like the iron breastplates men wear into battle. And the sound of their wings was like the sound of many chariot horses charging into battle. And they had tails similar to those of the scorpions they resemble. And it is in their tails that they have the power to harm people over this 5-month period. They also have a king over them, the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, that is, destruction, and in Greek he has the name Apollyon, that is, destroyer. The first woe has passed. Behold, 2 woes are still coming after these things.